Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Life as I See It with your hostess, Dena Nierenberg. And yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this past Sunday night. I did a singles event with this matchmaker, Aliza Ben Shalom, and we really had an amazing turnout. We had about 150, 160 people come to the party, and Aliza did something called live matchmaking, in which people could actually go up onto the stage and tell the entire crowd what they're looking for and have other people ask them questions. And this way they could kind of like narrow down the search a little bit, and it wound up being so much fun. And it was just a great evening. We had, equal amounts of men and women, even maybe a little bit more men than women this time. And, in singles events that never, ever happens. In this singles event, it did. And I want you to know that God was with us every step of the way. And also Aliza and her absolutely positive energy was with us too. And I tried to mimic her positive energy the best way that I could, because I see that her positive energy really carried the party into being a great big success. It was tremendously successful, and no matter who she was talking to, no matter who she was dealing with, no matter what was happening, she stayed so positive that it kind of just spilled over to everybody, and it was such an incredibly positive kind of an evening. And then she came back to my house. She slept over at my house on Sunday night after the event. And yet we stayed up literally till 4:00 in the morning talking and enjoying each other's company, along with her assistant, and just talking about how to make the world a better place to be. For real, it's like we get so caught up in the tininess of our own minds and all of its distractions and all of its memories and all of its unfortunateness, which I don't think is a real word, but okay, and all of its conditions of worth that we've learned over the course of our lifetime. And we feel like we have to kind of stay stuck in this. But what I have learned from Aliza, and because I've been teaching for 25 years, I'm a continuous student. I've been a student my entire life, since I've been about 3 years old. I'm way older than that now, and I'm still a student. So I really learn from everybody around me. What I learned from Aliza is be positive, be present. Don't let anything at all drag you down. The naysayers, ignore the naysayers. And don't even try to fight with the naysayers, because they will always have an argument right back for you. The idea is just be positive. In Aliza's words, your positive light can be more and is so much more powerful than any darkness. Our light is so much more powerful than any darkness. And when we're so full of light, the darkness fades away. It has to. You turn on a light and there's no more darkness, right? Any light in the room and there's no more darkness. There can't be darkness where there's so much amazing light. And that's what I learned from her. And the whole energy of this house is just like booming. It's like since she was here Sunday night, and it's just great. And anyway, it's great to have guests over, if your space permits. So it was nice. But me and my daughter Esther, we were thinking about what to do this summer. We kind of we need a hobby. She's off from school, I'm off from work. We were thinking about what to do. So we've decided that, along with Tessa's help, we're going to go to places where people just kind of walk around all day long. We were thinking it's called Caesar's Bazaar, Caesar's Bay. And it's over there all the way down by the lowest half, actually, of the Hudson River. And yeah, it's just gorgeous over there. People love to walk. It's right near the Verrazano Bridge. And so we're going to be taping people. We're going to be asking people this one question. What did you do to bring light to the world today? What did you do to bring light to the world today? And I so look forward to people's answers on that one. And it can be something very small, such as, I bought myself a latte this morning. I really needed it. To something really global, such as I gave charity today to my favorite organization. Or I gave up my seat today to somebody who really needed it. Or I let somebody get in line ahead of me, which seems like a very, very small thing, but is in fact a major, major, major thing and impacts people around you. It not only impacts the person that you were so nice to, but it also impacts anybody who was observing this kind of behavior. If we want to have a more positive world, we actually have to model certain behaviors that we want people to follow. It's not enough to wish that the world was different. Each and every one of us has to take a proactive stance on making the world a much, much, much better place to be. I've been thinking about how to spread the positive energy around, and I gotta say that since September, I've been working on this a lot. In the past, I've been talking theory. Okay, what if the world could be a better place to be? What if I could smile more? What if I could use my mind less? What if I could just be here, be now? And it's great. In theory, it's fantastic. Question now is, how do you put this amazingness, theory, humanistic psychology, into action? Before we can talk about how to put humanistic psychology into action, let's talk about what humanistic psychology is. Humanistic psychology came out in about the late 1950s, early 1960s, as a major, major controversy and a major, major change to psychology before that. Well, Sigmund Freud, he started the whole idea of practicing psychology in about the year 1900, around the turn of the century, the 20th century that is. And his practice was all about analyzing people and saying, tell me about your family. Let's try to make some connections here. Tell me about this. Tell me about why you do that. Tell me about why you did that. Tell me about why that happened, do you think? And, maybe if we talk enough, we can come to some type of resolution. But you know what happens when you analyze things? There are no resolutions. You can analyze one thing 1,000 ways, and guess what? You're not even done. You can always come up with one more theory. So what can you even do with that? It only leads to so much pessimism, so much anxiety. It can lead to depression. And so in the late 1950s, early 1960s, these three humanists, they were called the humanists, Rollo May, Abraham Maslow, and Carl Rogers, they came up with something called humanistic psychology. Humanistic psychology focuses on the present moment. It focuses on peace of mind. It focuses on self-love as the answer to absolutely everything. If you love yourself, you're going to be very, very calm inside. You won't be anxious. You won't be stressed out. If you love yourself 100% completely, because your mind knows not to start up with you, you are full of light. You are so, so positive that the darkness of your mind cannot even come into your light. The light that comes straight from your soul. Also a major, major focus on self-actualization and fulfilling one's potential in this world. So you see that humanistic psychology is incredibly, incredibly positive. It's actually the most positive type of psychology out there. The only deal with that is that these fellows, Rollo May and Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers, they spoke so much theory about humanistic psychology. And yes, of course, they practiced it too. But there was another psychologist that would come about in the 60s, 70s, 80s who said, okay, this is a great theory, focusing on self-love and positivity and being in the here and now and self-actualization. How can we actually get people to practice this, to put it down into writing? How can people practice this? This was the work of a fellow named Dr. Martin Seligman, who actually learned all about learned helplessness in the 60s when he was a student. What did he learn about learned helplessness? Oh, that we are a product of our backgrounds. We're a product of all the yelling. We're a product of all the punishment. We're a product of all the consequences that came about by not doing what the adult said. We are a product of all the shame and all the guilt and all the anxiety that's heaped on us. We're a product of everybody's reactions and everybody's influence that's heaped on us. And we grow up, and now we're a grown up and we feel this sense of learned helplessness. I learned so many negative things. And now I'm just grown up and I'm, let's say, age 20, and all I am is negative. And I can't really move on from here. And one day Martin Seligman, he was working his garden with his children. This was like around 1980. And this kid said, Daddy, why are you so angry and so depressed all the time? And why are you such a naysayer? Why are you so negative? And because of his kids, Dr. Seligman actually changed. And he said, yeah, why am I so negative? I want to focus not on helping people to survive what happened to them in their childhood. I want to help people to thrive on life. They should thrive in life, not just survive, not just come to therapy and say, hey, I survived my first 20 years of life. Oh gosh, it was hell for me, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I'm even alive and standing and talking today. He focused on, in therapy, when he was dealing with his clients, not just surviving. Surviving is nice. Surviving is amazing, because without surviving, you wouldn't be here today. But how about thriving in the here and now, and also thriving in the future? What can you do to thrive in the future? What can you do for your own self-actualization? What can you do to actually move ahead, move forward? These ideas are fabulous. These are fantastic humanistic ideas. And Martin Seligman, when he became president of the American Psychological Association in 1998, he says, okay, humanists, where do we go from here? How do we start to actually practice humanistic psychology? He came out with what he called the PERMA model of well-being. Dr. Seligman came out with what he called the PERMA model of well-being. Each letter in PERMA stands for something else. And if you practice these 5 things all the time, and some people will practice one more than others, but if you're willing to practice these things, you are guaranteed, you are certain to have this incredible feeling of well-being about your life that you can sustain till the rest of your life, for your entire lifetime. So here goes the PERMA model. What does the P in PERMA model stand for? Positive thinking, positive emotion. So here you find yourself in therapy, and you're extremely tempted to keep talking about everything everybody ever did and how horrible it was. And, to an extent, you want to rant, you want to go on and on about what happened. And like Seligman said, we do live in a very, very ventilationist type of a society. People want to talk about all the horror and all the horribleness. If you need to vent, there's a place to vent. But that's like where Sigmund Freud basically was. He said, where do we go from our venting? Where are we willing to go from venting? What can we do in the future? So Martin Seligman, he encouraged his clients to not just talk about how they survived childhood, but also now what they're willing to thrive on. What's their potential? What's their positivity? Also, what have they learned from growing up? Supposing they had parents who basically worked them very, very hard. While they may have not liked it up until now they can say, well, because I was taught such a big work ethic, now I have a tremendous work ethic, and I'm not lazy, and I know exactly what I have to do. Plus, I'm organized. Or if, let's say, you're not happy with how you grew up. Let's say you don't like how your parents treated you, or how teachers, grandparents, siblings treated you. A person can also say, okay, I don't like how I grew up, and now because of that, I am a much more positive person because I now know how I want to treat people, and I also know how I never, ever want to treat people. And that's why I'm so positive today. I can be so positive, even if I grew up with a polar opposite of all that. So that's what he's talking about when he says positive emotion, positive thinking, always thinking the best about people, always thinking that people have their reasons for everything, basically willing to stay positive about every and any situation that's guaranteed to help you towards your well-being. Secondly, he spoke all about engagement, and it's not the type where there are rings involved and parties and weddings. Basically, engagement in the PERMA model is all about being willing to engage fully and completely in the present moment. What does it mean to do that? It means to literally do what it is that you're doing, and don't just do it. I mean, really involve yourself. Such as drinking water right now. I know that everybody here is watching me drink water, but okay. There's no place for self-consciousness. I need to hydrate, So I literally spent those past 3 seconds focusing on drinking water. That's all I was doing at that time. And if you're willing to stay engaged all day in whatever you do and not allow your mind to get involved in whatever it is that you're doing, and believe me, you are stronger. You are 1000% stronger than your mind. You can. You've got this. Your soul, your beautiful light soul is so much stronger than your thinking and analytical mind. If you're willing to stay engaged in everything that you're doing all day long, you will have no trouble staying in the here and now, but also you will have no trouble with well-being. You're going to have well-being. If your analytical and critical thinking mind cannot get involved, you are naturally going to have positive well-being. This is how we were designed. We were not designed to utilize our critical thinking and analytical mind unless we're trying to literally figure out something on paper. How can things work out if I do this, if I do that, or adding up math equations or whatever it is, or trying to write a great essay. Yeah, that's when you get to use your mind. Beyond that, to give yourself a hard time, to stay stuck in the past, that's not your business. That's not what your mind was created for. That's not why we have a mind. We have our minds to be able to figure out great things in life, to help us to be able to move forward in life, not to think about what happened. In PERMA, there's also the R, the relationships, having amazing relationships with other people, with family members, with friends, with neighbors. Our relationships help us along. What we can give to the relationship. Also, yes, what we can take. It's a give and take. Relationships are a give and a take. And then there is the M in PERMA, and that's meaning. Does your life have meaning? And it doesn't mean, are you doing everything that you absolutely love in life? Is your job absolutely perfect? Are your circumstances absolutely perfect? That's not what meaning means. Can you make meaning out of any situation that is going on? That's what meaning is all about in life. There was a therapist, and he survived Auschwitz. His name was Viktor Frankl. And he wrote a book called The Meaning of Life before the war, and it was confiscated when he went to Auschwitz. And basically, he had to rewrite the whole thing. He had to rewrite his entire manuscript. And while in the camp, he managed to rewrite this entire manuscript, The Meaning of Life. If life is so horrible as it was in Auschwitz, if life is so horrible, how in this whole world can you ever hope to find meaning in life? You're suffering, unfortunately you're a prisoner, you're suffering, and the people around you are suffering, and you're in this tiny enclosed space, working like a dog, you're working like harder than a dog, and people are screaming, yelling, shouting, and people are just losing their ability to just be human. How do you find the meaning of life in a situation like that? But Viktor Frankl, he was very, very, very interested to see that if, even in the worst of situations, can you still be positive? So he started to rewrite his manuscript while in the camp, and he started to note that people who were somehow managing to find meaning in their horrible situation, that they just did better mentally and emotionally. People who are able to say stuff like, I will survive this because I want to reunite with my family. I will survive this because I want to go to school. I will survive this for my family's sake. I will survive this war for my family's sake. Everybody else has been killed out, but I will survive and I will continue the family line. This enabled people to be able to keep on moving, to keep on going. It's true that there were people, many millions, 6 million people. I mean, that's just Jews, more like 12 million people who did not survive the war. And it had nothing really to do with their attitude toward being in that kind of situation. But what he noted is that mentally and emotionally, people did better. People did better with the great attitude. And that's what meaning is all about. So let's apply this now to the year 2023. So what if you don't like your job? What if you're having a hard time with your family? What if you don't like your living situation? What if your living situation is extremely tight, extremely cramped? What if people are bothering you? What if you don't like your neighbors? What if you don't have the money that you wish that you had? What if you're in pain? What if every situation, which way, is just throwing a loop at you? How can you still find meaning in that? You can. You can find meaning in any kind of situation by saying, I am surviving and I'm willing to thrive. It's not just surviving this pain. It's not just surviving the lack of money. It's not just surviving that I don't like this, and 20,000 things about my life. It's that I'm going to thrive anyway. I will be okay anyway. I can find happiness in my day. I can find peace of mind in my day. I can find light in my day. I can be whatever I want to be, and it does not matter what happens to me holding me back, or also what else is trying to hold me back, because people do unfortunately try to hold each other back a lot of the time, but we don't have to take that. We can flourish no matter who is trying to hold us back, and also who is inadvertently trying to hold us back. We can move on, and we must move on anyway. It's not just about surviving the day. It's about thriving in the day. And that's what Viktor Frankl saw a lot of. He saw a lot of that. He saw a lot of people saying, I'm going to make it anyway. I don't care. I will not be subjected to this type of torture in my mind. Nobody can get to my soul. My soul is precious. Not one evil person in this entire world is going to get to my soul. I remain positive. And I believe that this will be over, and I believe that I can be okay until it is. Wow, if you can have this type of a life, you have such a feeling of well-being. How can you not? If you can find meaningfulness, even in any type of pain or any type of worry or any type of setback, you know? And then the A in PERMA model is accomplishment. What's accomplishment all about? This feeling like, yes, I got something done today. I actually fully did something today. And that's a really, really great feeling. It's amazing to be doing this show today. To do this whole show right now by myself. It's really, really, really incredible. And I hope that a lot of you are watching out there in YouTube land and Roku land. I really, really, really put my all into this show, this PERMA model, Martin Seligman's PERMA model, basically which he constructed as a way of putting humanistic psychology into action. He said, theories are great. It's great to want to actualize yourself, and it's really, really great to love yourself and to love others, and it's great to throw off all of your conditions of worth, and it's great to live in the here and now. He says, but let's put that into practice. Let's stop talking. Let's start doing what we gotta do. So basically, he said it's all about positivity, and it's all about engagement, relationships, meaningfulness of life, accomplishment. If you can do all that, your life goes into this complete and entire state of flow. The state of flow in which your analytical and thinking mind has no space and no place at all, because you are fully here. You are being yourselves. And that's really, really, really what matters. So it's not about being perfect. It's about being you. It's about adding light and life to this life. So everybody, do your best. Try your hardest and do the utmost that you can to spread the light in this world. This is Life as I See It with your hostess, Dena Nierenberg, wishing all of you love, light, peace, and happiness, and an amazing, beautiful summer.